We recently had our USCIS marriage interview for change of status, and boy, did we up. Hello, everyone. My name is Angelo, and I am a passport brother who brought his fiance back from Vietnam to come to the United States, where we got married. We recently had our USCIS marriage interview for change of status, but stay to the end of the video and I'll tell you the things that my wife said to completely turn that situation around. So my wife Nghīa and I had our marriage change of status interview at the USCIS federal building in downtown Los Angeles last month in February. To prepare, we reviewed all of the instructions on the I-797 form, the Notice of Action form, to gather whatever documents that we thought that we needed. Primarily, as I read through the I-797, it said to bring pretty much all the original documents that we had submitted with the I-485. So I did that. We also had attended a few events together, so I made a little photo album of those pictures that we took, like going to my daughter's marching band activities and things like that. So we gathered all this information together. The night before, I was up until 2 o'clock in the morning printing everything out, getting it all ready, and having everything labeled and ready to go. Our appointment was at 7 a.m. So we got up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We were out the door by 5:30. We were trying to beat the traffic driving to downtown Los Angeles. Anyway, we get there on time. Now I had mapped that equation using the satellite version on Google Maps the night before, and I was able to determine where the closest parking was, which was literally right across the street. So we park there, we walk across the street. As we're walking across the street, we see there's already a line of people lined up to get into the building. So get across the street, we get in line, we're waiting. There's maybe 20, maybe 30 people ahead of us, so it's not too bad. It's not even 7 o'clock yet, by the way. So we're waiting in line, and then at some point a security officer came out, and he went person by person asking them why they were there. Now, that building also happens to be where immigration court is, as well as where they hold the naturalization procedures and things like that. So as that security guard asked the people in line what they were waiting for, he actually separated Nghīa and I and a few other people into a second line. He then escorted us to the other side of the building where we went through the metal detector, and I forgot to take off my belt, and then I had to go through an extra special screening because I forgot to take off my belt like a knucklehead. Inside, there's not a lot of information on our side in terms of what to do, so you really have to go by what's written on the I-797 form, and that form had a room number that we were supposed to go to. I believe it was the 6th or 7th floor. So go up to the 6th or 7th floor. There's a room number. We go to the room number. The guy in front of that, a security guard in front of that room directs us to a different room. We go there. We check in. I think we showed him some information, some documentation. He put us on a list, which was then sent electronically back to the other room. And I think we had to go through this because we were early. So we go back to the the first room that we showed up at, and we wait. Now, Nghīa and I have been actively talking and sharing information about our families since we first met in December 2017. So there's not a lot of information about each other and families that we don't know. So we weren't really worried about the marriage questions that were going to come up. What obviously is as a concern is the information that we present. You know, how do they perceive that? How do they receive that in terms of it being qualified to establish a bona fide marriage, a real marriage in their eyes? And I'll get back to that and talk about more of that later. So we're waiting. We get a call. The guy comes in. His name is Michael. And Michael escorts us in. And as we're walking in, Michael is our interviewer. Michael asks me about my time in the military. So I told him about being in the military. He thought I was in the Army, but I corrected him and told him that I was in the United States Marine Corps Reserve, and that I spent a few years in there. He apparently was from the Army. So there was a little bit of camaraderie there, of being in the United States Armed Forces. And he was about my age, I would assume. So we go in and we sit down, and I start presenting documents to him. Now, I had presented documents, obviously, with the I-485. For the interview, the purposes of the interview, we had to present some additional documents because the I-485 it's like, you just got married. So what do you have to show us that you have a bona fide relationship? And we really didn't have much, with the exception of the marriage certificate, which we had. Well, the marriage certificate took us like almost 2 months to get it because we had problems. And you can go back and check my other videos to see what problems we had with getting the marriage certificate. So we're in there, and we are, in this office, and he's going through the paperwork. And I'm just ready for the questions. I'm like, come on, fire away, man. I'm ready to go. But he's not asking questions yet. Not in real specific questions. I mean, I'm getting the impression that the conversation that he started with us is about finding out information in an informal way, and then probably bringing that up during a formal question and answer period. So I'm being really careful how I answer these really general kind of random questions. So he's going through our documents, the documents sent with the I-485, and he's also going through the documents that I'm now presenting him with. And he keeps saying that there are things that we don't have. For example, we had our marriage certificate. We had some images from events that we had, attended together, and I think really that was it. And I really don't know what was going through my mind, but I saw on the I-797 form the mention of examples of bona fide marriage proof that you can submit. Some of that is having your spouse's name on your lease or your mortgage or your bank account statement or your utilities and things like that. And to me, I don't know, my thinking was just like off kilter. I just thought that really is that proof? I really just didn't fathom the importance of that stuff, and I'll explain to you what I learned about the importance of that later on. I didn't have my wife added to the lease yet. She didn't have a social security number, so we didn't have her on bank accounts. And also with the utilities, you generally need to provide some sort of social security number to be added to like the electricity bill or the gas bill, because often they need to run your credit. And obviously she doesn't have any credit because she doesn't have a social security number, or she didn't have one at the time. He's going through these lists of things that we don't have. And his demeanor, which was very friendly at first, started to change. And it was more kind of matter of fact and, hey, I need this stuff. Where is this stuff? How come you don't have this stuff? Is there a problem why you don't have this stuff? So he started loosely talking about the fact that, when there are concerns being raised, they tend to want to have, I think they call it marriage separation interview or marital separation interview. And that's when they, instead of interviewing you as a couple, they interview one person and then interview the second person. So as he started talking about these things that we didn't have, and I said, no, I didn't have that. No, I don't have that, but I have this and I have that. He says, yeah, it looks like we're probably going to have a marriage separation interview. I offered him that photo album of the pictures of the events that we took of ourselves as we were attending these events. But, and this probably goes for the K-1 visa as well. Now that I'm looking back at it, they don't really care about pictures that you two take with a selfie stick or of each other someplace on a honeymoon or vacation or something. They don't really care about those pictures. What they care about is having pictures of you two with your family, with your friends, with your co-workers, with your children, with her children, family, co-workers, that on and on and on. The pictures of the two of you, like these big portfolios that people create when they go out and they have their wedding gown on and it's just the two of them, that stuff is useless because it doesn't prove anything. What they're looking for is real, actual, substantive proof that you are bringing this person into your life, and your life includes work, family, and friends. So in that photo album that I sent to him, he actually went through it and took out the pictures and kept those of Nghīa and myself with my family, with my children, with when she came up to my job and she was around my coworkers at work and things like that. He kept those pictures. All the other pictures of us at the movies or something like that, he couldn't care less. So he still decided that he was going to have this marital separation thing. So I'm going to tell you, at this point, I don't have a whole lot of tolerance for bureaucracy. So I am getting to the point where I am like, what the fuck is going on? What's the problem here? What do you guys want from us? That's in my head right now. But I'm trying to keep cool. So I offered to go out, and he says no. He wants to keep me and talk to me first, and then he sent Nghīa out. And then this is where the conversation got really interesting, and I mean that in the best sense possible, because he was a really cool guy, and he was very forthcoming, and I asked a lot of questions, but he told me that as an officer, as an interviewer with USCIS, his job is to protect the United States citizen. That's his job. That's his main purpose. Sure, of course, he wants to make sure that, no weird fanatics come into the United States and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. But he also wants to make sure that the United States citizen is not being taken advantage of. And so when I didn't provide certain information or certain documentation, in his mind, it's like, okay, is this guy not providing this information because he has concerns and doubts? And so now I want to address those concerns and doubts with his wife not in the room. So he told me, hey, I'm here for you. I'm here to protect you. If you have any problems, concerns, things like that, you need to tell me that now. And have you ever thought about, if fraud or if you're being taken advantage of, da 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 da. So he went through that whole thing. And I told him, I said, hey man, I'm not foolish. I said, I work in an environment where there's probably a lot of marriage fraud going on, but I don't think about that in terms of me and Nghīa, because we've been together for like 6 years, on and off. We stuck together through COVID. The entire world was shut down, and we still stayed in contact. And I still made a point of getting out there and seeing her. And I told him, I said, the only time I think about this whole idea of marriage fraud is when other people bring it up to me. So when me and Neil are together, we're spending time together, we're doing things together, that's the furthest thing from my mind, because I don't see any red flags. I don't see any problems. I don't see any weird behavior. None of that stuff. I told her that she is a great woman, and uh, I wish that everybody could see that part of her, to see that honesty that's intrinsic to her character. So he asked me a few other questions, and then we went to the traditional questions. What side of the bed do you sleep in? What color is her toothbrush? Does she have any distinguishing marks? Do you have any distinguishing marks? Tattoos, things like that. Blah blah blah. So I answered those questions, and we were probably in there for a good 15 minutes, and then he said, "Okay, I've heard enough. Now it's time to get Nghīa in here." So we got up. Nghīa and I switched places, and I went to go sit back in the waiting room. Now, while I'm in the waiting room, I'm mulling over everything, and I'm coming to terms with the fact that I may have screwed up by not providing this documentation, by not going out and telling my landlord, "Hey, add my new fiance to the lease." Working with Southern California Edison to get her name on the electricity bill or a Verizon cell phone bill. I'm thinking, okay, Angelo, you screwed up. You should have made sure all of this stuff was done. That when they gave you that list, it wasn't a suggestion. It wasn't a suggestion. And that's the biggest takeaway that I have about the form and the items, the examples that they give you of what you can bring to prove that you have a bona fide marriage when you come to attend your interview for the change of status. And that is that every example they send you, that's what you need to bring, because there's a reason why they include that stuff is because that's what they expect to see. Traditionally, that's what they have seen when people are trying to prove that they have a bona fide marriage. So to not bring it means you are not following traditional means of proving that you have a real marriage. And that was my mistake. So I'm sitting there, I'm like resigning myself to the fact that we're going to get a request for evidence, and this is going to delay the process, because you know how the request for evidence, you got to gather the evidence up, you got to submit it back to that P.O. box, lockbox thing, and it takes like 30 days for them to get it out of there, and then it's got to be routed to the new place, and then it takes another 30 days for them to review it, and then it takes another 30 days for them to make a decision, and then probably another 30 days for them to notify you. So I'm like, okay, you screwed up, Angelo, you screwed up, but at least now you know what to do. So I'm mentally making a checklist of everything that I need to do. So I'm deciding, okay, he's probably going to be in there for a long time. And I hunkered down, closed my eyes. I was probably about to start snoring in that room. And then next thing I know, my wife is tapping me on the shoulder. And I'm like, whoa, okay. We go back into the room. And this man, he's done a complete about face, like a 180-degree turn. He is almost skipping, and he is happy, and I'm like, what the f*** just happened? So we go in and we sit down, and he's like, hey, I spoke to your wife. I love her. She told me everything I needed to know. She explained everything so perfectly. I'm really happy about this. I'm really happy for you guys. The way that you know each other, the way that you express yourselves about each other, it's wonderful. And I wish all of my couples were like you. That's what he said to us. And my mind was blown. I'm like, what the f*** did she say? So, obviously, there's still evidence that we need to present, because he still has to follow the rules and regulations. However, he gave me his own personal contact information. And he said, don't send this evidence to the lockbox. He said, I still need it. He said, but I'm going to start processing your stuff right now. But I still need that so I can finalize that. And I'm just like, yeah, no problem. She said, so send it directly to me. Don't send it to the lockbox. That way, as soon as I get it, I can start working on it, and I can, get you guys all the stuff that you need, so that she can get her conditional green card. And then after that, you can do this, and then after that, you can go naturalization. Blah 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 blah. So he's going through the whole thing, and I'm still like this. Okay, so we're all good in the hood. We still have to wait for a little bit, but now we have an expedited means of getting what we need to get, which is the conditional green card. So I asked him, I said, hey, can I ask you a question? What happened the first time? Because this was our second time with the K-1 visa process. And this is the part that blew my mind. He said that the first time we submitted, that everything was going as planned, with the exception of the fact that we had only known each other, physically been in each other's presence for 5 days before I filed the petition for the K-1 visa. So that was a little suspect. But then when I did not show up for the interview, because I had just got promoted and a new company had taken over, and I was afraid to leave work to spend 2 weeks in Vietnam at that time, I didn't go for the interview. And it always says, hey, if your spouse can come with you to the interview, it's great. It's voluntary. It's not voluntary. It's not. And then when the lady asked Nghīa some questions, I know she was really nervous with the fact that I wasn't there and she saw all these couples around her. She got some questions wrong, or she answered them in a way caused alarms. It caused alarms. And then our first case got stamped as possible fraud. And that blew my mind, because that then told me why everything took so long after this. After that interview, all of our correspondence with them took extra long, and it was because once it got flagged for fraud, it has to go to another department, and they have to clear it. They have to clear it and say there is no fraud here, or yes, there is fraud here, blah blah blah. So it was going through that process as well. Michael is telling me this information that we had got stamped with fraud. And what that did was, even though the investigation came back that yes, there are some concerns about blah, 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 but this does not appear to be an apparent case or issue of fraud. That was now attached to our first petition. So when we did the second petition, and if you go back and watch my video, and we go to the interview, and then this is it at the U.S. Embassy in Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon, in Vietnam. We have an exceptional interview. Great. Get along with the guy well. He barely talks to Nghīa. He and I, two Americans, do most of the talking, just shooting the shit. And he tells me at the end, hey, I have good news and bad news. He said, the good news is I have every intention on issuing you to a visa. Every intention. I said, so what's the bureaucratic news? Not bad news, bureaucratic news. He says, I can't do it today. And I'm like, what's wrong? What happened? What's wrong with, did we do something wrong? And he's like, no, there is some administrative processing that we need to do. And that administrative processing was directly related to the stamp of possible fraud on the first petition. So they had to clear that first before they can process our visa. So Michael, now at the federal building, at the USCIS building, he's giving me all the background information on why things had taken so long. Because when we got approved for the visa at the embassy, he couldn't approve it until they cleared the last bit of information, administrative processing. And you, if you are aware of the K-1 visa process, you know that the phrase administrative processing is every freaking where. And that it's like a junk drawer effect for every little bit of paperwork or clerical things that they need to do on your case. So he needed to clear that. But what Michael said, and this is back at the federal building in real time, he says, while I'm processing your conditional green card, waiting for your documents, because I still need to do an RFE, request for evidence, I'm going to work on getting that stamp of possible fraud completely removed so it's no longer a part of your account. And I'm like, well, thank God. That means everything going forward is going to be expedited because that flag won't come up anymore. So he's going to handle that for us. And he gave me his personal contact information. Well, not personal, but the contact information for him directly at the USCIS. So I had that as a letter. We got another letter 2 days later. And so I assembled all the information. I contacted my landlord. I got Nghīa's name added to that. I got Nghīa's name added to the cell phone bill. I got her name added to the electrical bill. We got insurance, apartment rental insurance. Her name was added to that, and a few other things to prove that and she got her social security number. So we did get a bank account for her. Now we're all good to go. Now we're just waiting to make sure that everything is approved, and we'll get whatever notification, another I-797 form, telling her that her conditional green card is pending. So on Nghīa's side of that interview, of that marriage separation interview, he asked her a lot of the same questions. What color is his toothbrush? What side of the bed does he sleep on? Does he have any distinguishing marks? And she answered honestly and faithfully. And she said, because I have a tattoo on my right shoulder, and it's 4 letters, and it says USMC, and it's all blurred out. I'm not sure if you can even see it anymore. It's all blurred out. But so she knew that tattoo was there, but she didn't know what the characters are, but she knew that it has something to do with the military. And that's what I told him when he asked me, did I have any distinguishing marks? I also have a tattoo on my back of a Black Panther standing on a rock. And this is well before the Black Panther movie ever came out. But then, so there is a big gap in our ages. And aside from the fact that I look really good for my age, he positioned it like this. He phrased it like this. He said, there's a large gap between your ages. And he already has 4 children. So why would you get involved with a man that much older than you who already has 4 children? What would be the reason for that? Her answer is what changed everything around. She told him, she said, well, can I explain it to you? She said, when we first started talking, I didn't want to come to the United States. I had a plan. I wanted to become better in English. So she said that while we were having these video chats and we were talking and everything, and I'd have to get pulled away because my kids would stay with me for a week, and I have to stop to help this one with homework, or make dinner for this one, or take this one to some event or activity or whatever. And she was watching this, and she said that she had so much respect and admiration for me and how I was handling my situation as a divorced parent, basically a single dad. So basically my wife told him that me having children is not what kept her away or made her think, oh, I shouldn't get involved with them. Her watching me interact and parent and love and care for my children is what made her fall in love with me. Because she grew to have so much respect and admiration for the way that I was, dealing with this kind of this single parent thing. And I sat back and I thought, wow, is this the woman that I just married? Holy crap, I'm a lucky man. And that answer floored him. And he was like, yes, That's it. That's the answers that I want to know. And that's why he was walking around there all happy and excited afterwards saying, I wish all of my couples were like you too. And I'm so happy that that gentleman was put in our path because, despite his concerns, he stood and stopped and answered these questions. And now we have definite closure about this entire situation. And I have to tell you, man, that despite how things have taken a little bit longer than normal, God or the universe or whatever you want to call it has put good people in front of Nghīa and myself when it comes to this K-1 visa petition, and then the visa, and then the Social Security card and the work authorization, and now the conditional green card. Good people have been placed in front of us, even to the DMV. We went to the DMV once and had this really nice black girl who helped us out. And then when we went back to get her AB60 license, we had the same girl, the same woman. And she was like, I recognize you. And she helped us again. And then now we had this great person at the USCIS office who interviewed us and gave us closure on the past 6 years of this whole administrative processing thing that, we didn't know what it was, but now we do. And now we have more information to share with other people who are going through the same process so they can avoid some of the mistakes that we had to deal with. And we're literally just waiting right now for that final notice about her change of status. When it comes, I'll make another video. I know this one is a little bit longer, but hopefully you stayed to the end and you heard that beautiful story. And if you like anything or learn anything here, please, please, please like and subscribe to this channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 people as soon as possible. And wow, our journey is still in progress, but we still have a lot of things to do. And hopefully you will stay along for the ride, and I will share as much as humanly possible with you. There's a lot of other things going on as well. And man, I guess I'm just going to have to see you in the next one. Peace out. Hey, babe, come here and get on this video for a second. My baby just got back from her citizenship class? No, not the citizenship class. Which class? One of the classes. Oh, it's ESL class. She just got back from her ESL class. She's like the star student in the whole class, and everybody's jealous of her because she gets along with everybody so well. But now she's doing her makeup and stuff because she doesn't want to get on camera without doing her makeup. So she's gonna probably put on some lipstick or something like that. So, but a lot of my videos she doesn't appear, but I want to make sure that y'all know she's real and she's here. Come on down. There she is. There's my baby.
Everybody?
Yeah, look right there. So yeah, I was just telling them about the thing that you said to the officer at the USCIS interview. The one I told you, I said that whatever you said to him turned our entire situation around, and it went from being like, oh my God, what just happened, to, oh my God, what just happened? Yay! So it was a good deal. And really, that's it. We're just waiting now because I sent the documents over, and they should have them. And now we're just waiting for him to review it, and then she will get her conditional green card. Right? All right, folks. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for watching our video.
Yes.